Hi, I'm Dr. Keith Johnson, and I'm reading from my book, If Life is a Grocery Store, I Need Better Coupons. And I'm reading the excerpt called, My Life is Not Planned, or Is It? Sometimes the incidents that happen in our lives bring us to an unexpected conflict with ourselves. I say it just because I was in a situation when I was sure I had control and it backfired. The couple was in front of my desk insisting that when they were finished with the session, I would hand them the sage advice that would settle all their problems between them, and they'd walk out of my office healed. And as a professional counselor, isn't that what I expect of myself? To be able to heal these problems? Anyway, while listening to their grievances against each other, the man made a statement that took us on a new and unexpected journey. Well, these things were divinely planned, and that's how they were handed to us, he said. To which the woman responded, my life is not planned, hoping to avoid the Calvin-Wesley arguments about theology. I suggested maybe it was time to rest these tensions and think about them before we indulge in their conflict after already having argued for almost an hour. But before they left, the man said, I pray that you see the error of your ways. He said that to me. I think. He really had me thinking. In prayer, is prayer our way of manipulating God? The answer is, I think so sometimes. As we manipulate our Father that loves us so much and wants to give us whatever we want, in the same way we've learned through the experience of our long love how to manipulate our parents. When I was younger and went with my mother to the store, I'd point to a toy car I wanted to take home. If she said no, I'd start crying, and eventually she would relent and give the car to me, except one day when I remember crying a lot and crying too much and too loud, and I ended up going home with a blistered bottom. But that's another story altogether. Suddenly I felt empathy for the Almighty, realizing that He must have the same problem that we counselors face when someone comes to us with a problem that they want to manipulate. So often they're in my presence for me to endorse their activity, no matter how bizarre or alienating, rather than seek advice or restoration of their own shortcomings. Instead of putting themselves in my hands and letting my training and compassion assist in helping them seek answers, they come for endorsement of their own wrongdoings. Yet in my position, honestly putting themselves in my hands and listening to our conversation with their heart, there's a great chance for reconciliation, both with their partner and with themselves if need be. But they don't come to listen. They come to talk, tell me why they're right, and why anybody else involved in the situation is wrong. And God must listen to prayers that tell Him how He should act to make the life of this religious man better, instead of hearing what wisdom has already been offered to him through the Scriptures and experience, of course. I get the impression that God listens to more gossip than anything else when He listens to prayer. Maybe true prayer is less talking, loving of God, of our fellow man, and of ourselves. I hear the men who caused the tragedy of the World Trade Center were most religious. I don't understand what kind of religion they were following, but I certainly don't like the results. And I can't imagine that God does either. I know that the truth of a man's religion comes from fruit he bestows on others. And I feel that after I've watched a man in fruit life, I can determine what he is to God when he's by himself. And a man's true religion is determined by what he says to his God when no one else is listening. The prayer of our heart manifests itself in the actions of our lives when we are not thinking about them. I do not find on the pulpit or in the charismatic healing services door to door to convince me that I should like you.
I find it in those who are not exalting ego, who are not meeting their insatiable demands with the abundance of life and things, but who are listening to the cries of the widow with no bread, or the student who does not, the orphan who needs a patient. True religion is accidental, unplanned. Suddenly opening the Red Sea, Pharaoh's chariots unexpectedly started to chase us, and we who are troubled are in desperate need of act through grace. Most Christians, most religious people, pray activity. Our world is unaffected by their prayers because the attitude of the heart remains unchanged before and after the prayer. Many don't even believe God's listening. Only those who understand that all of us, regardless of our sin, are saved, and that there is worth within and beyond the soul, that we who created by the same God deserve the same respect to ourselves and to those around us. Our attitude reveals our heart, which determines our action. There was no worth in the eyes of those pilots of the people they destroyed when they flew into those towers on September 11th. There was no worth in themselves. They destroyed both from their actions. One can determine their prayers. Prayer is not convenience that shapes the will of God to their demands. Prayer is not a sword that wields power against the Almighty, making him bend his will to ours because we have assimilated into our thoughts the standards we think he has imposed. Prayer is communicating with our Creator as we would talk to one who loves and takes care of us. The longings of our heart, often selfish and without loving restraint, need to be brought in subordination to the current principles all presented to us, sacredness of life, and the necessity of loving our neighbor and appreciating the gift of the day and those around us that can share with us if we allow them. International violence screams to the headlines. Crime is rampant. Divorce is worse than ever. Families fall apart. Drug abuse is ruining our lives, and children are without guidance with family. And we put the blame where it belongs, saying that God will see the error of his ways. You know, a man is tallest on his knees. Most things are wrought through prayer that the world dreams of. Jesus said, when you pray, don't pray like the hypocrites who love to pray in the temples and on the corners of the street, that they may be seen by men. Assuredly, they have their reward. When you pray, go into your rooms and pray to your Father in secret, and your Father, who sees in secret, shall reward you openly. You have troubles praying? Try this. Grab two chairs, one, and put them directly in front of you, as if you were preparing someone to sit down and talk to you. Then invite Jesus to sit in the chair and conversation. Tell him what you want and what concerns you, about your faith, your family that concerns you. And write on a piece of paper what you talk to him about, especially requests and heart's concern. See if God answers any of your needs. He said he would. Even if he just takes care of one request, your faith is bound to grow. Thank you for giving me some of your time.